Thank you so much again for joining me on this channel. As always, I'm very grateful for all your previous views, likes, subscriptions and shares. And it's great to be back after my little exam sabbatical. As you can see from behind me, I did have something of a tidy during that time, but there's still rubbish here. And of course, what you can't see is a huge amount of clutter just to my left-hand side. So best not talk about that. As it's Pride Month, I thought it would be really great to have a look at some religious role models in the LGBTQI plus community. What I've done is I've taken the 6 religions that most UK schools will study: Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism and Sikhi, and I've picked a role model from each of those communities. There'll be in alphabetical order, of course, for parity of esteem. Of course, apologies in advance for any terrible pronunciation, and of course there's no way I can do justice in this very short amount of time to these remarkable people. So, Kodo Nishimura, as well as being an LGBTQI plus advocate, is also a makeup artist and a Buddhist monk, which is a pretty cool combination. Nishimura was born in Japan and the son of 2 Buddhist monks, and here's a shot of Nishimura as a child. What's remarkable is how a movie called The Princess Diaries starring Anne Hathaway had a huge effect on Nishimura. To quote Nishimura, it was the speech Anne Hathaway's character made at the end of the film. Her message was about boldly embracing who you are and working to uplift those around you. That moment made me want to go to America, so for college I went to study in Boston. After being in Boston, Nishimura moved to New York City and worked as a makeup artist. Then between 2013 and 15, took the decision to split his time between the United States of America and Japan. Whilst in Japan, he studied and trained to become a Buddhist monk. There's a wonderful quote from Nishimura who says, "Through Buddhism, I learned that you can be who you truly are. You don't have to feel guilty because Buddhism encourages you to shine in your own colour." I think what a great statement to show that Nishimura sees no contradiction at all in embracing his sexuality and Buddhist traditions. Vicky Beeching was born in a small village just outside Canterbury in England, and academically incredibly gifted. She went to study theology at Oxford University. Also an incredibly talented musician, Vicky performed at churches when she was little, and then after university that flourished into a remarkable musical career, leading sung worship at mega churches in the United States of America, effectively the Deep South, and there she was on the very buckle of the Bible Belt. However, she was struggling to reconcile her Christian faith with her sexuality. As a lesbian, she was terrified of revealing her sexuality and was fearful of the consequences. It led to so much stress and pressure that eventually she had to go back to the United Kingdom to receive treatment due to stress-related illnesses. In the UK, Vicky carved out a media career commentating on religious events and also technology. It wasn't until 2014 that she came out as a lesbian, after a great deal of soul searching and a great deal of reflection. Her book Undivided details this, and it's called Undivided because she sees no contradiction at all in her sexuality and also in her Christian faith. And today she still continues to work to support youngsters who are struggling with their sexuality. I selected for Hinduism an entire city to be a role model. That is the city of Allahabad, and during a major festival of the Kumbh Mela, which is celebrated every 12 years, it welcomed its transgender community. There are approximately 2 million transgender people in India. In 2014, they were legally recognised as a third gender. And to lead the procession during the Kumbh Mela is a huge privilege, and that's exactly what happened in Allahabad. Here's a great shot of Laxmi Narayan, who is the head of the transgender congregation in the city of Allahabad. And what's interesting too is that Hindu mythology and scriptures are full of references to transgender people, and some Hindu gods and goddesses are also represented too. When I was putting this together, I had to share this image of you of a young Muslim woman in a rainbow hijab. I just thought it was a stunning piece of photography. Hafsa Qureshi is a young British bisexual Muslim, and she says her bisexuality in the early days led to some friends walking away from her. And in terms of her career, she says, quote, people shunned her behind her back. There is a wonderful quote from Hafsa where she says very simply, you don't have to choose between your religion and sexuality. Hafsa used to work for the Ministry of Justice in the Midlands. The Ministry of Justice is a department in the UK that's responsible for making sure that the laws are implemented and everybody is kept safe. And she took part in an inclusivity and diversity campaign. And as a result, she won an award from Stonewall. She was given the award of the Stonewall Bi Role Model of the Year. Stonewall are an organisation that campaign for LGBTQI+ rights. And what's really nice as well is that she now works for Stonewall, and she works and continues to campaign for rights, not just in the LGBTQI+ community, but also amongst Black, Asian and other minority ethnic groups. Our Jewish role model is Abby Stein, who is an American transgender author, activist, blogger, model, and the first openly transgender woman to come from the Hasidic community. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Abby was the sixth of 13 children, and by the age of 20 was ordained as a rabbi, married and had a son. Learning that she was going to have a son, Abby writes in her book, very simply, gender started punching me in the face. Abby, of course, faced huge challenges, not only in terms of transitioning from a man into a woman, but also being accepted in the Jewish Orthodox community. In 2015, Stein founded a support group for trans people from the Orthodox community. Later on, she also co-founded a group known as Sacred Space, which is specifically for women and non-binary people from all faith traditions to come together and share their experiences. She is a huge influence today, not just in the digital world, but also, as it were, in the physical world, particularly with her book, Becoming Eve. Our Sikhi role model is Sundeep Singh Bopari, or Sunny for short, as well as being an LGBTQI+ advocate. There's also a trailblazer, a fashion influencer and a model. Sunny was born and raised in Queens, New York. Parents had emigrated from the Punjab region, and he had a very close connection with his mother. His father very sadly walked out on them at the age of 8 years old. Sunny recalls reading an article in a newspaper about a gay couple in America, where one of them was not allowed to go and see his partner while he was dying simply because they were not a heterosexual couple. And this inspired Sunny to be a campaigner for equal rights. Sunny sees no contradiction at all between his sexuality and his faith. And there's a lovely quote where he says, Sikhi, at the end of the day, is about equality. Thank you so much. I have to say it was really cool having a look at so many of these role models, and putting it together was an absolute privilege and a real insight. Do keep yourselves safe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. If you are able to do so, then please do like, share and subscribe. In the meantime, enjoy your learning.